When I say the cloud hardly can have a benefit for your company, except the case you are a medium to big company, I mostly refer to the costs. And those costs can also influence non-cloud services. For example, having your own virtual private server. Let me show you, for example, with Amazon. Here we are inside Amazon Lightsail. That is the equivalent of Hetzner. That is, as I showed in other occasions, the service that allows you to have a virtual private server. That is not a physical server, okay? So if we go down, we select Linux operating system only, you notice that we can also use it for WordPress, something that is used by hosting services like SiteGround. That is another topic. But anyway, let's select operating system only. For simplicity, let's select Ubuntu. Let's go down, we select this for a matter of coherence with what I will show you later, and also this, why not? And we see the prices. Notice we start from this amount, okay? Now let's do the same on Hetzner. After you create your account, you do your validation, you set up two-factor authentication and so on. Let's create a server, okay? Let's select EU Central like we did here, also to comply more with GDPR in case. Ubuntu, same image as before, shared CPU, and that is the reason they call it virtual private server. Also, my suggestion is go for Intel AMD, not Ampere, because you have more compatibility issues. Now you notice something interesting. For two virtual CPUs, 4 GB of RAM, this amount of storage, you have to pay 4 euros. Let's not check this one, and also let's add backups as we did before, so we have a more fair comparison. So this amount, 2 virtual CPUs, 4 GB of RAM. Now, for having something similar, you have to pay 20 on Amazon. Okay, we have more storage. Here 80 compared to 40, and here we have less transfer in terms of traffic. So now you understand why you would prefer non-cloud providers, even though this is not strictly speaking a cloud service, to cloud providers. I think the numbers speak for themselves. You could wonder why this huge difference. On Amazon it is like 4 times more, and the problem is that Amazon has other services, for example Lambda, that of course compete with this one. With a machine like that you could replace many Lambda functions, so they have to integrate this opportunity cost inside this cost. And also here with the Lightsail you have a fixed cost. With Amazon Lambda it is very tricky and it is very easy to have surprise costs. So again, this price takes into consideration the extra surprises you could have with AWS Lambda. I want to underline this again. This is not a cloud solution. You have a virtual private server. So it is correct to say that the cloud is the computer of another person, in this case a company. Not entirely, because the cloud, let's take again the example of AWS Lambda, is ephemeral computing, okay? You notice that here we have the pricing per month. If we go to ephemeral computing, the pricing is also per month, but mainly by hour. Because, for example, AWS Lambda, you use it for executing functions. Here, you remember that we have something much more than functions. That means web application to manage websites. That means thousands of functions. So you understand that cloud computing has a different purpose than virtual private service. For this reason, they also do certificates that let you know which tool, for example of AWS, to use in function of your needs. Of course, if you have a website, it is much more reasonable inside Amazon to use Lightsail instead of AWS Lambda. Okay? If you have a statistical model that outputs you a prediction in function of an input of data, it is a backend function and it is more reasonable to use AWS Lambda. But if you have a website, a dashboard, 3 statistical models, a CRM and so on, you understand that it becomes an option to have a virtual private server with Lightsail or Hetzner. Did this video inspire you on how to optimize the costs of the underlying IT infrastructure of your company? We can discuss it in a first free call you can book, you see in the description. Bye and see you the next time.